that looks really good. All right, here we go. We are live on a Tuesday actually, and you got to take your hat off. You mind? Okay. And here we're at Mueller Manor, and these are the these are the contest winners. And the guy said, "Is your wife a little freaked out?" And I said, "Yes, a little bit." I spoke with Trump allies, and I spoke with Stone, and I spoke with all kinds of people. And Trump is playing this thing brilliantly. He got out in front of it, and we'll see what happens. Has he been arrested? Have you guys heard? As Trump, they are coming for him. I think he's playing them. They want him out of the way, and they are so afraid of him that this is where we're headed. So, okay, state your name?
James O'Sullivan.
And James, you won what? I did a contest on Instagram.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've ever done this. A very stupid idea, but I am making you a great meal that I brought back. I brought back the ingredients from Japan. Very special meal I'm going to have for you here. What do you think? You saw the dining room?
Yeah, it's lovely, beautiful.
Thank you. The house is clean.
Oh yeah, the whole family ran away when we showed up too.
Yes, they're very creeped out. Very clean place. I'm a clean guy. People expect me to have like milk crates and beer cans all over, and that's not how I live. It's a little dark, isn't it? It's okay. Whatever. Okay. Yeah, this was quite a nightmare getting this set up for you guys here. But okay, so I usually have it set up for Monday, so we weren't set up for this. And do you have any questions?
Yeah, I put. Do you want them to be really inside or stuff like
whatever you want to ask me? I don't give a shit.
I was thinking about from the fan perspective, since we were contest winners, about like, well, what are you going to do next? Are you going to be on the air again? Are we going to be able to listen to you 5 days a week? I brought one of them here, a sealed one, since I actually called in when you're on the air.
Wow.
And you didn't have a copy. So when Splat Attack 2 is going to happen.
So this is Splat Attack I did with William Shatner. And I play a Klingon and he plays Captain Kirk. And it is the worst movie. Oh, don't get off your phone. Are you serious? You're sitting with Mancow. You're going to look at your phone? Okay. Anyway, what's your name?
I'm Jason Geo. I won back in April too. It's been a while, but we're here. We made it.
I felt a lot of pressure over it. I was in Japan for a month. I've been all over the world. I was in St. Bart's. I was in St. Martin. I was in Anguilla. I was in, where else? Jamaica for about a minute, and Nashville. And I was on the road with the Pumpkins, I think twice. And we're talking about maybe going on the road to Australia. I was the first guy to hear his new album called Adam. I had dinner with him last night. And my world is round. When am I coming back? So I had a really good offer, the best offer I've had. And everybody wanted to put me, how do you look? Yeah. Everybody wanted to put me in mornings because that's where the money is on radio. And I fought for and got, basically, there's a lot to this, but I fought for and basically got the Art Bell show. But not the Art Bell show, not George Norrie or whatever that is, but that show on a network. And it was to start. And I don't know if I got cold feet or what happened. I'm not afraid. So it's not cold feet, but I just simply, there was nothing about it that interested me. But once I got it, I don't know if you've ever gotten, this girl you had to have and you get her and wow, man, this is not what I thought. And so this is kind of for a couple of years what I've been working on. And there's nothing, I listen to the radio fellas and it's 20 minutes commercials an hour. And they started to talk to me. I'll give you a conversation I had. I said, look, I talked with Roger Stone. And I talked with Alex Jones on January 6th. I was on the beach I want to talk more about this, but I was on the beach in St. Martin. And I was so upset over the election, I turned everything off. And I think a lot of people did that. They turned off everything. And I had to clear my head and I'm laying on the beach. And I called friends. I didn't know it was January 6th. Now this is like, calling Paul Revere. What are you doing? I'm working with some silver. Okay. And it was the day of the ride. And I called Stone and he said, I'm getting out of here. They sent some Secret Service by that were actors. They weren't real Secret Service. And again, I'm kind of remembering this as best I can. But, there's something going on. What do you think's going on? I don't know, but I got to get out of here. They're setting us up. Because if Trump wanted me at the Capitol, he would call me. They're setting me up. And I called Jones, hey, brother, blah, 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 blah. And, man, I don't know. They both said they're setting us up. This is before anything happened. And a day or so later, my wife comes down to the beach. I stay at Mary's Boone. You can look it up. She comes down and she says, do you know what's going on? No, don't tell me. You don't, you really, nope. No, don't tell me. Well, I don't want to know. I said, are the kids okay? Is it your family? No, everybody's okay. It's nothing personal. No, but politics and Trump. Shh. So all this January 6th, I didn't know about. I was gone for 3 weeks to a month. Anyway, so I told the story. And the person that is hiring me says, "Oh, we can't have any conspiracy theories." And I lost it. And they were still going to hire me, and it was fine. I said, "Conspiracy theories? Scoot in a little. I want people to be able to see you. You look like I got a calcified twin. You Quaid, the reactor." Anyway, and I lost it. And I said, "What the fuck are you talking about? This is a potential boss, a show that I pitched. What are you talking about? This is not a conspiracy theory. When I see something and it happens, it's not a conspiracy theory." Well, I don't, and the difference between a conspiracy theory and a fact is a couple of weeks, right? Now, or months. Everything that we know is true is true. They contacted, I guess through the school or something, they contacted my daughters today, and Moderna wants to know if they would like to be part of some studies. Yeah, no, thank you. So anyway, I'll get back to this. So does that answer your question? So where am I? I'm nowhere right now. I'm sitting here in the house with a couple of nice guys. I got some other people coming over. And, today, I mean, it's just, I'm traveling the world and I'm loving my life, guys. And the fact is there was a psychologist named George McKechnie. And I called him. I said, "Look, I'm here in Chicago. I'm depressed. I'm blue flu. I didn't have any of this when I lived in California." And he said, "Well, okay, and I got an offer in Hawaii. And it was $80,000. I was making $3 million in Chicago. And they said, "Do you want to?" He said, "I said, I'm thinking of taking it. I want some sunlight." And he said, "Do you ever go outside?" And I said, No, I never go outside. So what's the difference? So I went, "Yeah, you're right." But I sat, it was a bit of a prison to be locked in that studio. And you guys would hear 5 hours a day, but it was 10 hours a day because we're recording everything and doing interviews. Sometimes most were live. And all the different little parody songs and all the phone scams and everything. And for every minute of phone scam you hear, there was 20 minutes to 30 minutes of people not answering. And I was a slave in there. I know this isn't what you want to hear.
No, I'm just thinking about, what it was going to be overnights, like the coast to coast, or like a Dreamland?
It was absolutely going to be that. And they said, well, and they fought me. Why would you want that? Because I would get up and, at 2:30 in the morning, there was nothing on. There is nothing for people like us on the radio. I drive all over America. I drove to New Orleans a few days ago. Commander's Palace, Drago's, oysters, flame broiled, Commander's flame. What else? Paradise there, and ate like a slob. But do I look skinnier in person? I'm not as fat as you thought I would be. Is that right? I'm not as fat as you thought.
You're more handsome.
Everybody says I'm more handsome. I'll take. But where am I going with this? No, it was absolutely that overnight shift. And it was going to be on several hundred stations, a big network, and it was going to be no politics. Would you have liked that? It was going to be no politics, but I wanted to do that because you have half the country hates you the minute you mention anything, and I wanted to just talk. There's a show called Raleigh James. Have you ever heard that show? Okay, so check out Raleigh. I have no idea what it's about. I have no idea what it's about. And she has more time for her guests and people. It's just callers. She has all the time in the world, and it's about nothing. William Shatner. Oh, I remember William Shatner. He was on a show. What show is it? Star Trek. And they talk. But I thought, wow, there is nobody to talk to. And as I drive around, and I like to drive all night, and I go through every station, there's nobody there. Nothing's live. You're going to get a recording of Mark Levin, which is almost as boring as Mark Levin live. And Mark's a friend. I like Mark, but it's not exciting. And are you telling me something? Hello? No, I didn't say anything. Oh, good. Anyway, my friend Dewey was supposed to set up everything, and I had to set it up. He sent a video. Ralph, do you want to roll that video right now? Guys, when the videos roll on, they're going to be able to hear us. So do you want to roll the video? This is what he saw on the freeway. No, that's cool. Let that go. That's not it. This is one of my rides. And what do you think of that car?
Is the Studio Hot Rods one?
Yeah, this is Studio Hot Rods. And he just finished it. What's that? You got to speak up.
I almost won the loop back in the day before you guys had gone. It was Lindsay Marie's, but I didn't win.
Yeah.
That green one.
That's yeah. Yeah, I almost had a 12-inch cock, but I didn't. So it's a good story. Hey, I don't want my wife and kids to hear this shit. Okay, so don't want to get back to this. Did I finish what you were wanted to know? Oh no. So the show, there's nobody to talk to. There's nobody live. And they said there's not enough money. I said on 300 stations, there's not enough money. And they said, yeah, and then if it syndicates, I said it'll work. And I thought, wow, people call up. We can talk about the UFOs that people are seeing. I don't know that I believe that they're from another world. I don't know. Are they time travelers? The hollow earth, the secret freeways under every city. I drove under the freeways here. There's a whole city under Chicago that I've been on. You know about that, right?
Yep.
So the elites can get out of town if the terrorists attack or something. They have special roads to get out of town with no tolls or anything. Isn't that great? That's what they get, and we get. Well, how bad is this traffic right now? Did you come in from the city?
Western suburbs.
Are you familiar with now? They've shut down some of the roads for 3 years. And I talk to Vallis every day, and I would say, Paul, the first thing I do if you want to revive Chicago is make them work overnight and open the lanes when you can, because 3 years of 2 lanes, 2-lane blacktop in Chicago, it's a nightmare. So I just remember I opened my door to the hotel. We stayed overnight, and Shatner's in full Captain Kirk outfit, and I'm in full Klingon outfit. And he opened his door at the exact same time. We looked across at each other, and it's 4:00 in the morning, and we just burst out laughing, and we fell into each other's arms. And I really do love him. He's nearing in. He's what, 95? I mean, the guy is incredible. He's got he's got some mobility issues, but he's still horseback riding, and he's still kicking ass. And I love him. The movie is, imagine you're in a movie, a documentary, my favorite format, with William Shatner, and you never watch it, and you may think, wow, did you watch it?
No, I've never.
Oh no, and you may think, wow, what a prick. What an egomaniac. EGO, Edge got out. No, the movie is so bad. It's a paintball movie. Well, you can't have William Shatner taking paintballs to the eyes. So he's going, Mancow, William Shatner. Oh, kill me. It's horrible. But I did it, and that's cool. And I had trading cards, and I have a movie poster with my name and his name on it. And he was my boyhood hero. Yeah. I got a chance at his house to hang out with, listen to this. And you have to be of a certain age. My friend over there, Barson, the great sculptor, who did a lot of these sculptures you see behind me during the show, he can you carefully, there's maybe stuff in front of it. Can you pull down that William Shatner head? That's a Mego. See the big head? Yeah, sure. You want to do it, Barson? This guy's incredible. So I loved my Mego Star Trek Captain Kirk, and it has a unique look. It kind of sticks on the bottom. But look at this. Look at this thing he made for me. It's one of a kind. Can you hold it for him?
You want to hold it?
Yeah.
All right.
Can you put it up to the mic a little bit there? Or I mean, look how cool that is. Yeah. And it's solid. That's solid resin. That's heavy. Take it back, Barson.
It looks more like the Mego figure.
No, that's what I said. It is. It's the Mego figure. Who just said that?
I said.
Oh, I know. I said it was the Mego figure.
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
And we've always wanted to get a full, have them do the Mego hands. Yeah, the clamp hands, and put it on a mannequin downstairs. You're going to see my museum, Mueller Manor. You're going to see half of Mueller Manor. Maybe you'll get invited back one day. And again, guys, I got to tell you, as much as you thought, is it going to happen? I was tortured over not having you. I really was tortured. But I'm glad you're here, and you seem like nice fellas. Okay, so that's the end of that story. That's the story of where I'm at. So where am I at? I don't know. But I just don't know. I don't have an answer, except, is it enough? Is it enough to just sit and be happy today? And I really think the commie libs are pissed off. I eat big. You're going to see how we eat. We drink big, and I live and I love, and I got a big smile on my face. And I've read the book of Revelation. I know what's coming, and I know we win, but I think we got some real shit coming. I think social credit scores are coming. Cashless society is coming. When I was in Japan, I talked about this. They scan your wrist or your forehead for the temperature. Well, that's getting you ready for the invisible ink tattoo, and your credit will just be taken out. Well, there's a store here you walk in, right? And they just automatically deduct everything. Will you close those doors so my kids can't hear the show? Thank you. So lean in a little. I'm not going to hit on you, but I want people to see you. Okay, so, and I'll let you do a question now.
How did you officially get started in radio?
That's the worst question.
I know.
That's the worst. I was doing theater. I just went back to see my professor, Dr. Ed C., in the middle of Missouri, Suicide Falls, Missouri, CMSU. Now it's called UCM. And he speak up. I can't hear you. And I added to Shakespeare. I would get into character and I'd added lines to Shakespeare and Arthur Miller, The Crucible. You can't add lines. You don't add to Shakespeare. And I'm in character. So I found out about a job, Marion Woods, Woody, radio personality of the year around the world. In this little station. They got big offers, never took any of them. Little station at the end of a dirt road, KOKO radio. And is this not boring? This is my least favorite thing to talk about. Anyway, 500 people lined up. I borrowed my brother's suit. I was the only guy that wore a suit, and he said, "You look like you won't steal from me." 500 people stood up. They had pieces of the Kansas City Star. You just read from the paper for 30 seconds. Next. Blah, 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 blah. Next. 500 people, different days. 500 people went to work, and radio was cool then. And so it looked like I wouldn't steal from him. And I ran the Larry King show into Kansas City. And I would call in. I talked with many great people through Larry. One was Hal Roach, who gave us, oh my God, man, Laurel and Hardy, Buster Keaton, and certainly Charlie Chaplin. And to be able to talk with him. And he talked to me about Harold Lloyd, how Harold Lloyd was missing a few fingers. So when you see Harold Lloyd in those, if you don't know who Harold Lloyd is, find him hanging on the clock and look at Buster Keaton's stunts. And but Harold Lloyd was doing it with 2 fingers missing. He had a glove on, and you can see it. He had a glove with fake fingers. Your questions are bad, but go ahead. You come up with a
This is another big fan one, but you've had different programs with different styles,
Yes.
right? WLS, even the intro day was different than WLUP. When you look back on them, the original,
Wow.
the WLUP, the WLS, I'll even say the WCIU TV, right?
Yeah.
What was the one you had the most fun with that you thought was the best?
Wow. First of all, you see today what we were supposed to have versus what we got, depending on people and depending on people at 3:00, 3:30 in the morning. I mean, Todd Bridges wanted to do it. Scotty the Toy Shorts from the movie The Toy, and he was also in Christmas Story, put his tongue against the pole. These people begged me for jobs, and then they couldn't wake up. You got to wake up. So first of all, in life, just showing up is a big part of it. But the big cast show that I did on Rock 103.5 and Q101 was a nightmare because I had, an absolute alcoholic intern who was just wonderful. I mean, really wonderful. But, there was resentment there because it was Mancow. I'm writing most of what many said. Certainly Brian, the whipping boy or whatever, everything was written for him. And he hated it. I don't want to be Brian the gay butterfly. I'm like, yeah, you're Brian the gay butterfly. And but those shows were incredible. Now some people hated those shows because of the yapping dummies and they want to earn their paycheck, so they laugh at everything. And I think that was annoying. Certainly, just for me sitting alone at WLS when we got the girl out, when we got and there was various girls, but when we got everybody out and it was just me and the listener, which is what I would want to do. I would want to do it sitting here in a smoky room like an Edward R. Murrow or a Dan Rather, but for me, those were the most fun. One-on-one, headphones on, talking to someone, really hearing what's going on in the background in their world and bringing them into my world, and our worlds colliding. And I loved that. I love that. But the best shows were those, those live shows. My God, man, we had Don Ho and then Donny Osmond would come out and sing, he was doing Josie and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. I mean, I had AC/DC. Nobody's done anything with AC/DC. We had them. Just the
WCW pay-per-view.
Oh, I mean, the WCW pay-per-view. Come on. I broke Jimmy Hart's leg. His bone came out of his leg, Jimmy Hart.
I was at your live shows.
The live shows were.
I was at the very first live show was in Pockets. They don't have it anymore in Aurora.
Wow.
Remember you had Survivor there and you showed right on stage T2, the human Cyclops.
Yeah.
I was 21. I lied to my father. I was supposed to go to college at DuPage. Green Beer from 6 a.m. to 10. I never came out of nowhere, a bar where the sun is still shining.
God, how great is that, man? Thank you. I love that. The right guy won. I love that.
It was the best times.
They were great. But I was at a St. Patrick's Day party. A billionaire friend of mine, and I told my wife, all this stuff, and I had two 24-year-old girls, I assume 20-ish girls for me, for, beautiful. Here you go. And they're drinking. And there was a lot of cocaine, which I see every once in a while. And I know you guys can't relate because I can't. And I I'm a church going guy. I got 2 girls that are 17, and I just thought, yeah, drink, which is what those shows were. And I had the Beastie Boys on, I remember, and I remember seeing them with Run DMC. And they were on, and I opened for Run DMC, which is the worst gig of my life. I'm not saying the crowd was racist, but they didn't want to see this white boy telling jokes and throwing out T-shirts. But I love Run DMC. At least one album, Raising Hell. But I'm talking to the Beastie Boys. I said, I saw you on the giant phallus. I think it was Arrowhead Stadium. I saw you in the giant phallus and the beers and we didn't do that. Do you remember this, by the way?
I remember.
You remember this on the air? And I said, wait, you're making me to be a liar. I mean, if you don't talk about it, fine, but I saw this. That never happened. It's like, yeah, but the point is, I'm almost 27 years old, and I've matured, and not in a bad way. I'm having more fun than I ever had. But yes, I love those shows, and some of them are so horrific, and we got godly people watching. But do you remember the woman that was the vending machine? Don't describe it. And then there was the deal where the guys had to be blindfolded and figure out which girl was their wife. Yeah. Which I can't go into details. I mean, yes, it's embarrassing at this point in my life, but they were great fun. They were great fun. God, I had fun.
What's your favorite guest interview?
I get asked that a lot. I don't know. George Lucas came in, and this is before he had the asexual waddle, and he was very fat. But he brought me in. He looks like me. He looked like me. He was a skinny guy. And probably 1990. And then I went and hung out with him during the day, and he opened up everything, and I saw everything. And he had the original Millennium Falcon about this big on his desk. And I said, I'll trade you my yellow 70s Ford Maverick. And he I think he actually thought about it and thought it was a stupid, like, he was like, nah, I can't. But I think he considered it. And he said to me, and I'm not a George Lucas fan now. I don't know, $1 billion, so I would have sold it too. But he said, 3 billion, 4 billion.
2 in cash, 2 in.
Oh, I didn't know that. Wow. Anyway, he just said, like, he just basically said, "You're me." We have so much in. I mean, I see myself. It was a great compliment, and I'm not a fan now, and people change. So many great moments. I remember I'm hanging out with Kid Rock and a couple of his prostitutes that were just horrible, really hideous Detroit prostitutes, and the Josie the midget and his mix master guy. Who was the mix master guy? Remember his name? Doesn't matter. And they kept calling Bob. And I said, "Would you leave us alone? Please." "I'm sorry, man. I don't know who Bob is." And he goes, "Hey, man, I'm Bob." I didn't know his name was Bob. I thought it was Kid. I know it wasn't Kid Rock, but so many great moments. So many great moments, man. Going out on stage at a sold out.
Rosemont Rising.
Well, we sold out every theater. We broke records in many theaters. We broke booze records in every theater.
That was the only time he made me mad.
What?
I cried when I know it was a stunt, but Jeffrey Allen St. Bacher, when you locked yourself and was playing the machine over and over again, a 25-year-old bought it. He cried.
Wow.
The whole freaking
That's
thing,
you,
man.
Wow.
That was the only time I really hated you in
it's
29 years.
I don't want you to hate me, but did you read it? Did you read about it in my book?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
because that is some of the great stuff. And I really everybody was nice to me. The Moody Blues said, "Take whatever you want." Pink Floyd was a real bitch to get that cleared, that Welcome to the Machine. I'm glad you were, I'm not glad you were mad.
And
of course.
Finally he came back, and it was like he's back.
Yeah.
And it was.
I thought you were going to say when we dropped him in the van. We ended a show where we dropped a van with a dummy out at the Rosemont Horizon. And is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
And the van exploded, and everybody thought he died. And I thought it was Andy Kaufman. I thought it was great. And no, it was a huge mistake. It was a huge mistake. No, it was because people wanted a happy ending, and I just thought it was hilarious that we finally killed Turd. It's over. We're crying on stage. The lights came on. Everybody went, what happened? Sold out show.
I remember the name. It was Jeffrey Allen St.
I haven't heard that since that day,
yes.
but that's awesome.
Things I should have
I hope he's listening. I hope he's watching. Turd, we love you. God, yeah, no, that was a big mistake. I'll tell you the big mistake, the biggest mistake I made, show wise, was we were, I guess I can turn this off. Ralph, do you need me anymore?
I don't. You're good to go.
Are you enjoying this?
I'm always, man.
Well, I'm going to tell you. Yeah, listen, I'm going to tell you to put up pictures here or whatever before we go, folks. I hope this isn't boring, but whatever. No, the worst show I ever did was we did a nudist show at the Ponderosa. We got 10. Listen to this, guys. That show made $10,000 a minute. Now I'm not talking about the commercials you heard. I'm talking about every minute of that show. $10,000 a minute. Every minute. I was on 5 hours a day. That's what it broke down to. That's profit. That's profit. That's how big that show was. $10,000 a minute. Okay, so we do a naked show at the Ponderosa Sun Club, and I played the drums with and the Scorpions were there. The band The Scorpions were there. How cool is that? They played live. It was an all-star show. By the way, this is the guy. Hi, Dewey. This is Dewey showing up right now to start the show. A little late, but you saw the video. Okay, so yes, there was an advertiser revolt. We can't be associated with the nudist colony. I thought it was a harmless, silly show. Of all things, that one we got hurt from that for a couple of weeks, and then everybody came back. But how about you?
I've got these are all really inside.
No, it's
but,
okay.
Your WCIU show. I thought that was one of the best. Like your TV show was amazing.
Thank
It
you.
was ahead of the curve. I thought
It was so ahead of its time. And Fremantle came to me and offered. I think it was Fremantle. No, it was something else. But they came and offered me money, and I said it was $80,000 again. I was making for one episode, and it may or may not work. And they off of it. And if you remember my show, they did Crank Anchors. Then came what was the Jackass, which was they stole turd stunts, I believe. And then there was one episode of what was the Kimmel show?
Man Show.
The Man Show. There was one episode of the Man Show, guys, that was word for word. They just took it and did it. And so that company came and said, "Hey, we want to do a Mancow show." And they said it's $80,000. You'll move to LA. You have to give up your radio show, and you'll do a pilot episode. I said, "What if it doesn't work?" "Well, sorry." And I said, "Guys, I got a job here. I'm killing it. I'm loving it. Can we do it here?" "No." And then they went on, and the shows they laid out and we talked about became Crank Anchors. And I've never talked about this. I had another instant where Comedy Central wanted to hire me. And it was, I think, a done deal. And the MTV people were there. Everybody was there. And then they came in the next meeting and said, "Jon Stewart said we can't hire you." And I said, "Yeah, who gives a shit?" Right? And they said, No, we can't hire you. So because of my politics, because I wasn't a criminal liberal commie. But true stories. No, that show was great. Do you know the most we ever spent on an episode? Keep in mind, we beat Stern, we beat SNL. Nothing beat us. We were number one. Do you know the most we spent on an episode was the Amsterdam episode? $2,500. And that show ran, and when I go to Vegas now, that show ran in Vegas for a decade. For a decade. It never went off. It was huge. And it got ratings. And 25, yes, thank you for saying that. I didn't know it. And I don't think about it, but you're right. We were way ahead of time on that show.
Well, it's not available to stream or anything. There's no
clips.
I don't. You
I
got
don't,
the one DVD. And
I don't think it exists anywhere.
Yeah.
A friend of mine had a TiVo with everything on it, and I always thought we should pull those off his TiVo, and then his TiVo is
Breakfast with Billy, live down Michigan Avenue.
What was Breakfast with Billy?
There was a live Breakfast with Billy when you were doing the
Billy who?
Billy Corgan. You don't remember that?
No.
In the 2-year run on WCIU, the later TV show,
No.
the second one, you did Breakfast with Billy live on the TV show.
No, I don't know if it was
You did-
called
you
that.
did a
No, I think
live-
he's probably right. That
you
sounds
did a
like
live
me.
stream down
Might
Michigan
call it.
Avenue.
I know what you call it when Mancow's Morning Madhouse, but I always love, Breakfast Billy. I always loved everything to rhyme like that. There's a phrase for that, but I don't know what it is.
I only missed you for 4 years when I went to California to be with my dad when he was passing away. From 2004 to
Well, that's why I ended up in Chicago, as my dad was
Yeah.
passing away in
So
Kansas
last
City, and
4
those San
years-
Francisco flights were killing me.
the last 4 years. I didn't catch you. Technology isn't what it is now. So
Well, man, guys, I appreciate it. Keep going.
Well, so the streaming, Splat Out Hack 2. I think that overnight would be I don't think you'd like the life, the lifestyle, but there's no competition then. And I like George Noory, but it's pretty, he just says the same thing. The guy, he's barely alive. I think that would be a great time.
Look, George has been nothing but kind to me, but I think we can agree that ain't Art Bell. That was great. And I think look, brother, I started in 1984 and I did it and I did it and I did it. And those last 2 years, I was running face first into a brick wall every day. And I have told this story, so I'm not going to bore you, and I'm sure you'll know it. But I had to park outside the city during the second righteous protest. This is, righteous my ass. These were people shitting in stores and starting fires and stealing what they could steal. And I got chased with somebody with a club, and they were yelling things at me because of my skin color, full on racist. And I was told to call them peaceful protesters. Anyway, it was a nightmare getting in. Meanwhile, and he's a fine guy, but Bob Surratt and everybody else is sitting at home. Everybody's at home. Right? It's during COVID. Everybody's sitting home. No, I wanted to be there. And I think you have to be in the city and feel the energy to do that show. And I went in and I had to walk for a very long time to get into the station. And it's over. And then, the chubby, 32-year-old middle management puke. Cal, did you remember to disinfect your work area? And I'm standing in an empty high rise, the NBC tower. I'm alone in my studio, a studio that nobody uses. Did you disinfect your work area? And we had feasts, and we had Green Day play, and we had everybody came through. My God, man, Stallone, of our era, Stallone, Willis, Schwarzenegger, they all came through that studio. Russell Crowe having a couple beers, laying on his back doing his interview. I mean, and they were celebrations. And did you disinfect your work area? It's over, man. It's over. Whaling was probably a pretty good business, but it ended, and I enjoyed doing it, but it ended. It's over. It'll be something else, and that was what overnight would be. It would be something else. And it's not what people wanted. It's not what the business wanted, because the real money is mornings. I don't get up before the crack of noon, but that's not true. But I don't listen. I haven't listened to radio.
I don't listen to anybody else except I'm a sports guy. After you, I'm committed to sports.
I still talk to Mike North.
Then I don't.
I still talk to Mike North once a week.
He's not on the air though, right?
No, he's not. No, I don't think so.
And I don't think Gary was on for a week after you left, maybe.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Or
I didn't know that.
He got like a tryout week. I think you said listen to him. Remember that?
Oh, I did.
He's not on. I don't think there's anybody on anymore.
I love Gary. Look, the WLS is, I don't know. It's sad. It's sad. Sad. Yeah, I can't believe what I hear. And I turned on the radio, and God, we just have to thank Mayor Lightfoot for her hard work. Just have to thank Mayor Lightfoot. That's not what we're Lightfoot into, guys. I don't know. The TV shows, everything's teaching me something. The movies are, my buddies that are here. I'm watching. I grew up. Kang, you were a fan, right? Oh, yeah. Kang, do you know what Kang is? You don't have to. You get a lot. You guys get a lot of my references, and I appreciate it. But Kang's a bit of a stretch. But I read Kang in the comic books, and so the Ant-Man trailer comes on, and I'm like, yes, in the multiverse, and that's cool, man. It's trippy. I've done ayahuasca. I've tripped. This is cool, man. I don't recommend you do it, but and then you in the multiverse, Ant-Man. At the end, I went, oh shit, that's Kang. That's the star of the Marvel Universe for the next 5 movies. This isn't about anything. But it's about characters that I love. Make a new character that's, Ant-Man, hey, man, make that a new bad guy. Make that a new character. Don't take characters that I love. Iron Man is now a 15-year-old African-American girl. I don't have any problem with that. That's great. But not Iron Man. God, how great would a young Bruce Willis have been as Wolverine? That's what I always wanted. I didn't get that, but I thought Hugh did a nice. Hugh Jackhoff did a nice job. I saw him on Broadway. He's a talented guy. Okay. Any other questions?
You do News Nation, like
yeah, I do.
Right?
I
so
do.
I was curious. Are you looking at any TV, or they got the big studios over there now, right?
Yeah, they're all friends of mine, and yeah, I don't know, brother. I don't have a good answer.
Either way, I can't fight for you anymore on Facebook like I used to. That's the reason why I'm here.
Why can't you fight?
Because anything I say, I'm half Italian, so I'm going to go tell these people, you know what? And,
Guys, I haven't looked at Facebook. Just so you know, I have not looked at Facebook. You don't have to defend me.
I fought for you for years.
Well, I appreciate you fighting for me for years, but I must tell you, I haven't seen
That's it.
Facebook in at least a decade.
Yeah.
I haven't even looked at it. My guys, you'll meet Dewey. He has it so that when I post on Instagram, it gets put up. And I'll tell you, not having a show. Look, we had 2 million people, which is huge numbers. And then they took them all. And then we got up to 122,000. They took them all. And the guy that's third in charge at Yelp said he's never seen anybody so banned. He goes, they let Rogan get ahead. They let Alex Jones get ahead. They didn't really understand it. And they kind of let these anomalies happen. They're not going to let it happen again. And I am so, it is, I had a picture of an old man dressed, holding a little kid's hand, dressed, creepy looking picture. Didn't say anything. And of course you went, oh, guy looks like Biden with a little kid, the hair sniffer. And they wrote back, you're kicked off 30 days. President Biden is not a pedophile. I never said that. I didn't show him. I had a picture, which I'm sure you've seen on 100 other accounts. I had a picture of Hunter Biden with a feather boa, a picture of him. I didn't make it up. It was a picture he took of him with a feather boa. And I forget their bullshit reason. And they took 122,000 people. And I challenged it. And they said, you're right. You're right. I said, will I get 122,000 people back? Oh, well, no. And then after Afghanistan, have you heard me talk about this stuff before?
Well, I've listened for 20 years.
Well, good. But so after Afghanistan, there was, a guy in the garb, a mujahideen, whatever, fighter. Do you know the right word?
I think you got it.
Okay. Anyways, he's standing on the phone. Listen to this. It's a guy in Afghanistan by one of our tanks on a phone. And this is what I put. Is this still under warranty? You ready? Making fun of a religious group. Hate speech. So you don't even know what's going to flag you. You don't even know what's going to, it's insane. So do I want to do more of this? No. Do I want to get put in that environment? No. And I was with, yes, name drop, but we hang out. He lives down the street here, but Billy has high hopes. He thinks a change agent's going to happen. You see that's my Bible. I think it's holding up the computer there, but it's I don't see it. I think that I don't see how anyone can break through. I don't see how the truth can break through. They're going to have to put Trump in jail or just destroy him because they can't allow him to speak. I think DeSantis is, I like him, but I think he's controllable. And okay, you can talk. Look, China, if you study China, and I've been to China, and I love Japan, and I love the Chinese people. I do not like the Chinese government. But if you study them, and I talk about this, guys, I'm telling you, if you learn one thing, and it's big win, little talk. So they allow guys like DeSantis as long as they get everything they want. So, and I'm not saying DeSantis is in the pocket of the Chinese. I'm saying that they will allow a guy like DeSantis to say, we don't want the jab. We don't want your creepy stuff in our schools. But anything more than that or any real action, then they swat you down. They stop you. And Trump went too far. They can't allow it. And big win, little talk. Mitch McConnell, the Lindsey Grahams, the Bidens, they're all controlled by China. I know I'm sounding like a madman now. And you're thinking, what am I doing in this crazy man's house? But they're all, so you can't get that out there. And then they say, China says, oh, we don't like their censorship. We don't like what China's doing to the Muslims. They don't care. Do you think they care? Do you think they care what China's doing to the Muslims? I mean, it's a massacre. And my father's prophecy, which you've heard, and that is, when Taiwan is taken over by China, son, it's time to run for the hills. America's over. That was his prophecy in the 1970s, which was crazy. Okay, keep going. Anything else?
Well, I don't know if you saw that leaked paper from, was it Air Force guy saying that he thinks that they're going to go for Taiwan? Was it 2
I
years
think,
from now?
I don't think they'll wait 2 years. I think they want to do it under Biden. But I hope you're right. I hope it's 10 years. I hope it's never. The Taiwanese people love us. They've been great friends to us, and we're going to abandon them. And folks, that is evil. That is evil. Do you know that they asked AI about liver cancer? My friend, who I don't want to drop his name anymore, his mother died of liver cancer, and they asked, you're going to like this. You're going to like this. They asked the AI, is there a cure for liver cancer? And the AI said instantly, oh, yeah, there's a cure 20 years ago, and they have it, and blah, blah. And then they shut it down real quick. Look, my father-in-law right now is going through this stuff. I lost my father to it, and it's big business. And I can't say anything because my wife and my kids and my brother-in-laws, everybody. And, oh, yeah, man, he's going to, God, I hope we get to celebrate his 80th birthday. And they're going to put a rod of radiation into his skull, and then we do this, and the rehab is $10,000 a day, and then man, they'll keep you going until your house is gone and everything you have is gone and your legacy is destroyed, and they have every cent, and then they suddenly don't have a cure. And I remember my dad was laying there, and I couldn't get his face out of my mind, what he looked like as he died, like an eagle or something, with his tongue just like a dry piece of leather. A skeleton as his body shutting down and dying. And the nurse says, yeah, we don't have good looking skeletons anymore. They keep you alive until and we don't have good looking corpses anymore. We keep you alive until your insurance runs out. And not me, man. My friend Robert Hamer, who wrote Fish Heads with Billy Mooney, Barnes and Barnes, died. And I think for 20 minutes they're trying to resuscitate him. And his wife said, what are you doing? Would he be brain dead? Oh, probably. But, we'll keep him alive on machines. He has a do not resuscitate. What are you doing? So, my wife knows, unplug, let me go. Yes, they can keep you alive. Is that the life you want? I have a relative right now that wants to commit suicide in a place where they allow assisted suicide, and has asked me to come with my wife and kids and sit there and be with him as he dies. And I said, no. And I think people that commit, I'm sorry. I think if you have a mental issue or you're sick and you're not in your right mind, I hope that God forgives you. But I think to take your life like this, and I've known so many men that have selfishly taken their lives, I think that's a one-way ticket to hell. And sorry.
I think you talked that listener in years ago. Q101 or Rock 103.5. There was a listener.
Yeah.
Called, and I think you might have talked to him out of it.
I think I did. And I talked to a few people off the ledge. And believe me, whatever problems you're going through here is nothing compared to what hell would be. I will tell you the two shows that still wake me up and still are horrific. And this would be a good time to turn off the show if you don't want to be disturbed. But my most horrific moments. Yes, St. Woods was real, by the way. But the other thing was a guy called up crying, and there was a lump in the middle of his snake, and the snake had eaten his baby. And he was crying, and it was legit. And I still can't shake. I still can't shake it. I still wake up thinking about it. That was probably it was in the 90s. Another one was I think we talked to his wife, her husband, and they were from a rough part of town, man. Her husband took her baby and put it in the microwave and cooked it like a roast, thought it was a roast because he was so high on something. And those two shows, and there's others, but those two shows, I remember a little kid was killed by a pit bull. And I said something about, the pit bull and killing the pit bull. And they hope they put the pit bull down. And it was a 2 or 3 year old baby. And people said, well, the dog, you blame the dog? The dog. And the reaction was all for the dog. And not one person, not one. There was another moment where somebody had said I lied to him and he won Rolling Stones tickets. And I was on the phone with him from like 2:00 in the afternoon until like 1 a.m. Have you heard this story? Mm-hmm. And he goes, well, I had the right answer. And he told me, I said, it was Escape Club did Wild Wild West or whatever. And he goes, I won. I knew the answer. I said, sir, you have to get through. But it rang and rang. Yeah. You have to get through. We have to put you on the radio. But I had the right answer. I won. You're a liar. I'm a Mancow fan. I want Stones tickets. And I tried to reason with him. You know, like my friend Brentwood, the guy just continued to tell fibs.
Simon Kirk.
No, I don't want to say. But he just come on, man. We're gonna have great adventures, but you can't say we jetted off to have dinner with Biden last night. Stop making shit up. We do enough cool stuff. You don't need to make. And he wouldn't stop. And I tried, man. I tried to talk to that guy. Do you understand that you have to get through in a radio contest? No, I won. And I couldn't reach him. And like 1 o'clock, my voice is gone. I have to get up in an hour and a half to do the show. And I'm like, So those kind of failures where I couldn't reach somebody, those were horrible moments for me. Malachi Martin, who became a good friend, wrote a book called Hostages of the Devil. He called up and he said, I've been listening to your show and I don't want to do it. And I said, no, you shouldn't, because you should only talk to Catholics, Irish Catholics and Christians. And God forbid you talk to millions of people right now that could hear the good word. And he apologized and he came on and became a good friend and a great guest. And Malachi Martin, Hostages of the Devil, is one of the most frightening, true books you'll ever read. And he was eventually killed during an exorcism. William Peter Blatty told me all about it. And then Friedkin, who did Exorcist, did a documentary about it. Very boring documentary, but he was killed during an exorcism. Yes, you can be killed if a giant piece of furniture is thrown at you or you're pushed down the stairs by something demonic. I thought they couldn't die. Oh, yes. Exorcists die. Okay, so this is, I got dinner to make. I got stuff ready. I got corn pottage, which is how they say it, not porridge. An American hamburger, which is what they call in Japan. You got to have an American hamburger. And I fought it for a long time, and I had one that's delicious, but it's not an American hamburger at all. It's very weird. Kind of what we would call a Salisbury steak. I have my childhood favorite, Le Sueur peas, and I've got some panko breaded shrimp, which they love their panko breaded shrimp that I have. And we're going to open a nice bottle of champagne that this gentleman brought, and we've got some other people here. And did you bring Pulp Fiction?
I did.
I haven't seen Pulp Fiction. It's 4K. What is it? What is it?
I'm sure if I don't, I have Highlander.
Well, and
I'll have to
how does Highlander sound?
I think
I'm okay with whatever.
But does Highlander work for you?
Yeah.
I have a theater in the basement here. Do you know the movie?
It's a 4K Highlander.
It's 4K. So, and it's got scenes that have been added. It's a four. Yes, it's from another country. So you'll never see this version of it except here at Mueller Manor. Put up any pictures, Ralph, or anything that I've sent you in the last couple of days. And then I enjoyed this. I don't know if you guys did.
Yeah.
Do you think people would you have enjoyed watching this?
Well, yeah, I would, but I'm the type of guy who's asking questions about your contractually obligated second book that you haven't released yet.
No, there's 2 more books I've written, but I got out of it by Judith Regan. The next one was going to be about the shapeshifters that I encountered.
I got my book here for you.
Okay, I'll sign it. But the shapeshifters, the reptilian shapeshifters, which David Icke talked about, and of course Jones had to stop talking about it. Put that back up again. Yeah. Is that unbelievable? That guy. Did you see him? And someone was questioning about the toxic leak, and he said, "Stay there. I want to get your picture." I mean, sinister prick. Okay, next one. Oh, is that unbelievable? This move to eat bugs. I raised Black Angus cattle as a kid, and I raised a cow last year, and it's beyond prime, and you're going to have some of my cow, my actual cow that I raised. Okay, yeah, they want us to eat bugs. Yeah, F you, I'm not going to eat bugs. Yeah, and let's pray for our guests here, and you guys pray, and Lord, please command your angels to protect us. And there's a lot of good people out here, a lot of freedom fighters, and people that that want us to be free and want America to turn back to a higher power. How's this godlessness working out? I don't like Jesse Jackson Jr. I used to call him Jesse Jackass, but he is a friend of mine. I don't like him politically, but behind the scenes, like wrestlers, he plays a heel to Whitey on screen, but behind the scenes, he's quite a gassy, but a gag. And he said, the end of America was when we took prayer out of schools. And boy, are they removing God. By the way, it was like garlic at the vampire's house or taking a cross. Did you see the Democrats debating whether or not they should have to say the Pledge of Allegiance anymore? Did you see that? If you haven't seen, you saw it?
Mm-hmm.
Guys, they're so demonic. And this, why did we decide that we had to have drag shows for kids, right? Russian Trump collusion, total BS. My friend Roger Stone got attacked at a restaurant 2 days ago. What makes that okay? The Hunter Biden laptop, that was a lie. The Wuhan lab leak, come on. How obvious. the lockdowns and the mask. What did I tell you? It was all nonsense. It's just the bizarre world we live in. Okay, and I was going to tell you about something else and I've forgotten. Okay, show another picture. Yeah, but I'm not going to eat bugs. That's the point. Yeah, here we are, guys. Here we are. So we're somewhere in between. And I was put it big so I can see it. Yeah, I didn't love Brazil. 1984, great book, not a good movie. Animal Farm, sure. Fahrenheit, yes. Logan's Run, I love. Handmaid's Tale, what a godless, horrible thing that is. Gattaca, brilliant movie. If you've never seen it. Matrix. I mean, we're all Lord of the Flies. I mean, we're here. Okay, next. If there's nothing else, there's nothing else. I thought I said more. Okay. I was going somewhere. Oh, okay, got it. Thank you. I had more stories. Anything? Can you think of something? There was something I started I didn't finish, and I wanted to circle back to it, but no. Okay.
I do think the reptiles are.
Oh, the rep. You want to talk?
Why they want you to eat the bugs.
The bugs thing. Yeah, we're not going to eat bugs, and this is all nonsense. And I'm gonna have a nice big steak for you boys tonight. A nice big steak I cut up for you. Been marinating in Dale's marinade, which is the best. Okay. Anything else? When did you win this contest to sit with me?
April 18th.
Okay.
Of last year.
Of last year.
The marinade.
Of last year. And it really has bothered me, but I'm glad you're here. Jim Fannin has written a thing called The Zone, which is a positive thinking thing. And he taught Frank Thomas and John Macron and some other people. He's got a very nice podcast he's beginning. I gave him a little bit of advice and he said he appreciated it. I said, no, you don't. He says, no, I really do. I think he really does. But he's also a remote viewer, which I've done. And he's called me and he's been in the room with me at different times. And he tells me what's going on. And this is from him sitting sometimes across the world. So you may want to check out Jim Fannin. Anything else? Anything you want to say about the house? What do you think of all this cool stuff back here? That's some cool stuff, man.
Well, you talked about Mueller Manor, and it reminded me of the House on the Rock with all the stuff you can see here and other stuff. So
Yeah.
all this other stuff is nice.
Well, you'll see more. You'll see
I
more.
was saying before we started, I thought this room was like huge, like this is part of your basement. You were just
No.
helping
This is
people over
no.
there.
This is not the. This is a small room, so I control the sound. But then I had to open the windows because it's so hot in here between you two fellas. Oh my. What's coming up for me?
That's what you always said. Love you show.
Thank you, brother.
You said that one.
Thank you. Well, this has been a really special night for me. I really mean it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. And you always said, I was a little hesitant. You said it's been so long since I was falling asleep when I heard my name on the thing. And I got real nervous because I was kind of, you always said, never meet your heroes. And so now you're inviting me over. So I could either say, I don't listen to your advice, or I'm going to end up being so disappointed. And this has been really lovely.
You would be Sean Astin. Oh my God. I had dinner with James Lovell, the great astronaut, and it was booked. And people have said he doesn't believe in God, and he doesn't believe in the moon landing. And I knew him, and I had broken bread with him, and we landed on the moon, according to him. And there is a God, according to him. And they attribute all kinds of things to these astronauts. And I've had conversations with Buzz Aldrin as well. And I don't know what that noise was. Maybe you're a little gassy, but yeah. So I was going to have dinner with Spielberg, and I said, no, I'm having dinner with James Lovell. I got invited to have dinner with Spielberg. And the next night they invited me to have dinner with Sean Astin. And I thought Lord of the Rings, if you took out all the walking in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, this is before they remade it and made it, whatever they're doing now with this crappy new one. But, the great Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings trilogy, you take out the walking, that's half the movies, right? But I think the greatest trilogy of all time. I know Star Wars was pretty good except for those teddy bears. But anyway, so Sean Astin, I love, Samwise. And I went to meet him, and I was friends. His dad used to come over to my place. He was John Astin, the father from Addams Family, and he would smoke weed and listen to the Moody Blues, Question of Balance. And I knew Patty Duke, his mother, and I just met him and thought, wow, you are a real piece of shit. He was a real piece of shit guy. That was a disappointment. And most of them are. Russell Crowe gets a lot of heat, and he was the biggest thing on earth at that time. And he befriended me, and he just takes no bullshit. And I sat in the press, your accent in Robin Hood, were you trying to do Northern Ireland or kind of a central? I don't know, mate. Next, yes, in Master and Commander, the thread count on your sheets. What the fuck? Just idiots. And then, he's mean. He's not mean. He just doesn't suffer fools. Billy's the same way. Doesn't suffer fools. Shatner doesn't suffer fools. He's eating dinner at the toilet. You don't come up and ask for an autograph. He's going to be mean to you. You're a gentleman. You hang back. These people are nice people. But some of them, and it's always the people that the biggest entourages don't last. I saw that the people had to have the most people around them. They never lasted. And but most of them are disappointments. And sometimes you have to consider. I had dinner with Alan Parsons recently, who did Dark Side of the Moon, and Alan Parsons, big famous guy. Eye in the Sky was his hit song, but he's done a bunch of stuff. He's got a new show coming to Vegas, and he and they think Mancow and they look up Shock Jock or whatever they think, and he was a bit. And then at the end of the night, we're best friends. So that usually happens. So a lot of times these people have their guard up because they don't know. And Rick Springfield is a dear friend of mine. And I went to see him at the Genesee Theater a few weeks ago. And he's talking about suicide and how depressed he is. And, he killed someone in Vietnam. That's a true story. And he's tried to kill himself by hanging himself. And he was talking, he's crying. And I'm front row. And he's just sobbing. And he's singing these songs. And he says, I was very depressed after my father's death. I had the #1 movie and the #1 song in the country. And I was on the #1 soap opera. And he goes, and I thought it would clean me. I thought it would cleanse me. I thought it would make me love me. And I hated myself. And I wanted to kill myself. And he goes, I promised I'd never be that low again. And I'm that low tonight. And he's crying. And I've known this guy forever. We dated the same girl, Linda Blair. He got there years before me. And then Rick James got there, so I know she didn't know I was there. But anyway, he's just sobbing. I'm right there, and I just was crying. Oh my God! And you could feel the pain. He sang the song about his father's death, and I lost my father, and you lost your father, and there's people with their phones. Rick, Rick, and it was like the 7th layer of hell, the outer ring of hell. This poor guy. So you have to give, sometimes when you meet these people, you have to give them, you don't know what day they're having. David Coverdale was beautiful. Brian Wilson, out of his mind. Michael Jackson, absolutely brilliant. I think he's a pedophile, but he was brilliant. I hung with him, and then a year or so later, I met him. He remembered everything that I said to him. Don Henley. I like Don Henley solo. I hate the Eagles. But there was a proscenium arch, and he's sitting in a chair like he was in the old Memorex cassette ads, and he's sitting in a chair. And I walked in, and he turned to me, and he gave me a look, and I looked at him, and I went, "See ya! Don't want to meet that asshole." And then there was the time the Monkees had sold, something had gone wrong, and they'd sold like 100 tickets. And it was the 3 Monkees, and the theater called and said they listed it wrong or something. We got a show tonight. We got less than 100 tickets sold for the Monkees. And I got on, and I sold it out. We sold it out within 5 minutes. And I went backstage, this woman, Monica, and she goes, Peter Tork goes, "I'm just going to write Pete so that you can't sell us on eBay." And she said, "Hey, listen, asshole, you had no tickets sold until he talked about you today. You had a sold out show. You write Peter Tork." And Peter was a very nice guy, but whatever moment you catch these people in. Davy Jones, I saw. I mean, I'm not saying Davy did it. I'm not saying David Cassidy did it. Chris Farley did a lot of it, and around Davy and that tour, man. I mean, I can't imagine the amount of the cost of that pile of snow. Backstage with Rush, the evil around that drummer. And it's the fool that sees the demonic everywhere. It's the fool that sees it nowhere. It's real. I've been at an exorcism. There is hell. There is heaven. There are demonic spirits. You want to make sure that your house is blessed, and you want all that stuff kept away from you. You want to pray against it. You want to swear against it. You want to flee from evil. And I talked to my kids about that. Leave. Well, I don't want to be rude. No, leave. When you feel evil, leave. And that drummer from Rush, full on, and he died right after that, full on demonic manifestations around that guy. And it's very, and I love the song Time Stand Still. I don't love Rush, but I like Rush. There's bands I love, yes, and the Moody Blues and the Kinks. I mean, but I don't love Rush, but man, the demonic on that guy, and demonic symbols, and man,
Would never even know.
what?
I would never even know.
Well, now you do.
Yeah.
So stop. You can't be stupid anymore about this. When you hear about what's his name? Not Neil Peart. Is it Neil Peart? Yeah, Neil.
Yeah.
Neil.
Yeah.
What do you think of Jimmy Chamberlain, one of the greatest drummers on earth, if not the greatest drummer right now? See him live with the Pumpkins, brother. That's a
see him in
superstar.
November, too.
What?
I see him in November. I was in the rafters, but I was there.
You saw him. You saw him. You didn't see him.
Saw.
That's a Chicago thing. The other one is borrow. Will you borrow me this? Will I borrow you this?
You see what-
That's
see what-
Chicago.
see what dumbass turd did to me?
Yeah, no, I know. God, he could slaughter him. Yeah, he slaughters the language he did. But here's the thing. You can say whatever you want about that, but it's just a sign of ignorance. I'm kidding you. But it is a Chicago thing. I'll borrow you something. No, I'll loan it to you. Anyway.
Living
Okay.
on those Southside schools.
Yeah, the public schools. Look, it's all by design, man. Talk to anyone that hires people, and they'll tell you the dummies that we're churning out by design. And keep them angry, man. Keep them angry, and keep the racists fighting, and keep the left and right fighting, and the Christians versus this, and that boogeyman's coming from the Middle East, and keep it going. Divide and conquer. It's Sun Tzu. It's the art of war. It's China, and this is all China. Wait a minute. Our race problems are China. They've done it in every culture. It's the way it happens. You get the most disenchanted folks, and you get them pissed off, and you get them to tear apart society, and then you roll in and you kill all of them. Oh, man. Oh, boy. LeBron, wow. You'll be the first one they say bye-bye to. You jackhole. Puppet of the communists. Who was the wrestler that was speaking Chinese? And, I love China. I'm sorry.
John Cena.
Yeah, John Cena. Oh, my God. How could you support that? John Cena. See, that is something, man. It's the only vote we have. I don't believe in the vote. Okay, I don't believe in it. I do vote. I go through the exercise, but I don't believe it. But we have money. That right now, that's what we have until they have the digital currency. And then if you're not of their political persuasion, they'll just delete you the way they did to the Canadian truckers. All you have is your money. So I'm not going to go see Marvel that has taken, welcome to yo. No, I'm not going to give my money to this shit. I'm not going to watch the show where they blaspheme and I think we're all learning we don't need it. Did you watch the Oscars? No, I bet nobody did. None of us did. I don't need it. I don't need them. They want to play 2 national anthems and divide our country. I don't need to go to an NFL game. I don't need to do this. I don't need to do that. And it's, but I'm reading books and I'm educating myself and I'm traveling the world and I'm around cool people. Are you doing the same thing? You just turn it off. It's amazing. That was the cure, by the way, to the COVID. That was the cure. Oh, wait a minute. Turn off the TV. They put you all inside television to program you. It's called programming. Have you had a conversation with somebody that only watches ABC News? Okay. Guys, anything else?
No, just thanks for having us over.
Oh, well,
It's been a blast.
I hope so. This is only the beginning. You're not leaving. I got nothing to do. I don't have to get up tomorrow. So we're going to be here all night, fellas. They're going to be begging to leave. Riding the rails. Come on, fellas. Mancow, we got to go. Please let us go. Please. They're going to be crying at that front door. Let me out. Let me out. Oh. This is the Lion's Den. I hope you knew that before you tuned in. This is where the angels and the devils fight, and they're choosing up sides. All right. Me, I'm part man, part monkey, part mystery. And the angels and the devils are playing tug of war with my personality. Thank you, fellas. What's your name? Where are you from?
James O'Sullivan, Elmhurst.
Jason Jolette.
You're from Joylet?
Well, now I am. As of
Oh,
November, me and the wife bought a new home. I
You-
was in Lockport before,
Wait.
but now I'm good old Joylette.
Honey, life is going pretty good for us. Let's move to some shithole town. You could live anywhere. You could live anywhere on earth, and you move to Joylet. Wow.